everyone, and welcome to another Classical Crossover Magazine New Releases Chat. Today, I'm super excited. We have two amazing ladies. We have Grace Foley and Lucy Kay. Welcome. Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's very nice to see you. I've talked to you both a couple times, followed your careers, but this is the first time is it the first time you both are meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Where are you guys both right now? So Grace, I think it might be Ireland for you.
Yeah, I'm in Kerry in the southwest of Ireland, where it is gloriously dull and damp today.
And I'm in Norway, so that's where I live now. So it was snowing one day the other day, but it's completely gone. So we're just waiting for winter to come again. So
that's awesome. Did you move there recently, Lucy? Right? What's it been like?
It was during the pandemic. I was separated from my boyfriend for the pandemic, and I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go move. And it actually kind of like just made us do it and make that commitment. So, and I'm not back since. I mean, it's been hard because of the pandemic. So I have been working some other jobs which haven't been in singing. So I've been working at a graveyard, which was fun, and lots of other things. So it's just been a bit of a whirlwind, but I'm loving living here. I live out in the mountains now, so it's getting very cold now. So I'm looking forward to winter.
Norway seems like it's very beautiful, and Ireland too. So hopefully one day I'll get to see both of those places.
Definitely.
For the people, so I feel like everyone knows you, but if there is someone that doesn't know you, can you give us just like a quick couple highlights and kind of what your sound would be like?
Grace, you want to go first?
Okay. Like, which one of us? I can go first. So as I said, I'm in the southwest of Ireland in County Kerry. My background is I always like singing. I'm an only child. I sang constantly as a child, but not for anyone. And then as I got older, people said you should get singing lessons, and there weren't really any singing teachers around my area at the time. But somebody came along and they took me off on a path of classical music. At the time, I feel like most lessons at the time were all in classical training. I didn't know of any contemporary teachers at the time, but I loved Celine Dion. I wanted to be Celine Dion, and I never got to sing a Celine Dion song after that because I went down the classical route and it all got very serious. I think I always loved contemporary music, but I was trained classically. And then I went on to study at the Royal Irish Academy of Music in Dublin in Ireland. And after that, I lost my voice for a few years. This is just sweeping by everything. And I found it again through the love of songs I'd sung before, through singing in the church, through doing some singing, teaching myself. A lot of different things brought me back. I recorded an album of songs all linked to Kerry because I'm really proud of where I'm from. Then a few years later, I recorded Unleashed, which is my one of my most proud achievements so far, because it's like mainly contemporary tracks, and it's me doing me for the first time since I was a kid, I think. And I made a Christmas EP last year, and I am about to talk to you about my new album that's coming out this year. And I'm a contralto. Take a deep breath, which means I got the lowest female voice. So there you go. That's me in a nutshell.
I love it.
A contralto. That's sexy. I think that's very sexy.
Oh, thank you.
It is.
So I'm Lucy Kay, and I am most well known for coming runner-up on Britain's Got Talent in 2014. Before that, I studied at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, where I gained my bachelor degree in music, so opera. And then I was scouted for the show, so I went on it. Didn't think I was going to get anywhere, but did, so it was nice. And then I was signed by Sony Classical, and we did an album called Fantasia, went straight to #1, and 18, and that was in the classical charts, and 18 in the overall pop charts as well, which was
amazing,
outrageous, because it was an A to Z of opera music. So, you know, that was a bit of a weird one for me, but great. And then I toured with Andrea Bocelli on his UK and Ireland tour. And then, and I didn't go to Ireland with him, I just did the UK one. So, damn it. But I did go to Ireland when I record with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I played the narrator, and we did that twice. So I reprised the role from, I think it was 2016 to 2017. And then since then, I've just been having a lot of fun and singing in various places across the world. And I sang for Samuel L. Jackson. I'm just going to show up. I've done all that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was it really. And I've got a new album coming out, which I will also talk to you about that later.
See you, ladies. To interview with you both individually, so we'll link those on top or below or whatever that fits. But let's talk about the new stuff. So I know that's what fans are excited about. Grace, you would have already announced the name of your album at your Halloween concert, so I'm going to say it here. It's Unmasked. So tell us a little bit about this wonderful new album.
This album, I'm calling it the ultimate pick and mix because it wasn't an album I went in to record specifically. It happened out of circumstance. That sounds like a really strange thing to say about an album, but as you know, there's been a pandemic. Don't know if you've noticed, but there has, and this little thing. And it's my ode to music that's gotten me through that time, and they're all the songs are connected to that time. On my YouTube channel, I created a little album story where I kind of explain each video. But basically, I'd recorded a couple of songs pre-pandemic with a plan of releasing them. So that was Everything I Do It For You and Danny Boy, and actually Silent Night as well. So that was on my Christmas EP. So those two were there. And there's a couple of other songs I was working on. And my friends, Mary Jess and Emer and Joanna, our little group, our little WhatsApp group, they were like, why don't you make an album? Because you've got the bones of an album. I had a few other bits I was working on. And I thought I'm going to make this like my ode, my thank you to music from this time. So it's a mix of everything. It's got Raglan Road and Danny Boy, so it's got the Irish in it. I'm blessed to have an amazing Irish instrumentalist and accordion player called Liam O'Connor playing on Raglan Road. We've got Mary Jess Leverland singing on Pass Angelicus. We became friends during the pandemic, so I love that that's on there because we're like best friends now. We only met on her podcast because of the pandemic, really. I don't know if we would have met otherwise. And there's kind of something for everyone in there, I think. I'm really proud of a couple of tracks in particular. Remember Me, Requerda Me. I didn't sing during the pandemic at all, but it's a song I've loved for years, and I'm dedicating it to everyone we've lost in the last couple of years, most especially my own cousin who passed away during the pandemic as well, just a few months ago. So I'm very proud of that one, and I have a couple of my own songs on there as well. And I have songs I recorded while I was pregnant with Anna as well. So you know, they're all in there. So every song on there has a link to the last couple of years or my experience of the last couple of years. So that's what it is. It's called Unmasked. Well, I guess masks have been a big part of our lives the last couple of years, but yes. It's a story. It's a follow-on from Unleashed, because that was when I went out into the world, and I guess Unmasked to me is getting to sing again for people again. So that's why I feel like I'm unmasked a little bit, and then I'm hoping down the line to do a third one in the series of it'll be something else. So that's kind of what it is. It's a mix, but like I love when I listened to it myself from start to finish. The first time I thought, oh God, is this going to sound really weird? Because it's two different studios, it's different times, but it actually, to me, it all makes sense when you hear it as a body of work, even though it's not a body of work, if that makes sense. But it's very special to me, and I hope people will get it when I explain what it is.
So you released a single, Caught Up. I believe that's one you wrote. So tell us a little bit about that story.
That is about my own journey with my mental health. It's about being caught up, and it's all about, being caught up in circles. That's literally the opening line, caught up in circles on the inside. And it was a song I'd started working on a little bit pre-pandemic. Some melodic ideas, I had lyric ideas, and I got some funding from the Arts Council of Ireland, which was amazing, again during the pandemic. And it was to write and record or whatever you want to do with your own music. So I had the bones of that, and it's the most honest song I think I've sung, and I thought it would be a good thing to kind of get that out there. It's honest and it's my own. And I also recorded Goodbye to Dublin with that funding as well. And I recorded the video for Caught Up during one of the 5 million lockdowns, or like the day before one of the lockdowns last year or something. I've lost track. But again, I was early days pregnancy, and I asked if I could use an empty theatre in Killarney because I really wanted to show how heartbreaking this has been for musicians all over the world. And it's now become, in my mind, my song I want to sing to those musicians across the globe who have been out of work for the last, God, 2 years now, really, and like how hard that has been, mentally really hard. So the song has gone on a journey with me, and when I saw the video, I thought, this is about us, this is about the singers, it's about the pianists, the violinists, it's about all of us in the art, all artists really that have been stopped in their tracks. So that's kind of the story behind that song, and that's featuring the album as well.
And do you have one more single coming out? Well, it'll be released by the time this chat goes out, but before the album comes out, what's the next single?
That's Remember Me, Require Than Me.
Okay.
That's the one that I'm dedicating to everyone we've lost, and especially to my cousin Mike. The video will have been released as well by the time this chat comes out, and the video is so special. It's on my family farm in Kenmare, which is a town about 40 minutes from here, and we all sat around a bonfire and we had a few drinks, and I walked around the mountain and I sang. It was my late grandfather's farm, who's also Michael Crowley. So his energy was very much there, and I believe in the energy of those who have been, and it felt like they were all there with us that night. And the videographer came along and he just captured us literally being ourselves, sitting around a fire, having a chat. I guess in the last couple of years, we haven't been able to mourn. In Ireland, we're really good at like giving our loved ones a good send off, and we haven't been able to do that. So it was kind of an ode to that as well, I guess, like what we'd love to have been able to do in the last couple of years. And that song would be out. That song I sang on national television when I was 16, I think, for Phil Coulter, who wrote the song. And he absolutely loved it. So it's one I've been wanting to sing for years, and I'd heard the Celtic tenor sing it a long time ago. So on many levels, that's one of my favorite tracks in the album, because it's also got like kind of more of a slightly orchestral string quartet kind of sound to it, which I hadn't done before either. So it's the most classical song on the album too.
'Cause when you see me, you see the painted parts outside the circles, the turning chains of all the memories. Please make it stop. 'Cause when you're falling down the hill, you don't keep holding on. When you're falling down the hill, you can't keep holding on.
I like that idea of these songs kind of being in our lives for a while and then coming out at the right times. Lucy, your album, I know your fans have been waiting for a while, and you've been waiting for that moment to release it due to the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think it's been about 7 years since I've recorded an album. But I mean, I've just been on tour and everything, and it's never been the right time. And then it was directly before the pandemic hit that I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this album, and it's going to be something that I really want to do, instead of like, having, because this is completely independent, this is now, whereas before I had a label, and it's great to have a label, but they kind of pinhole you into certain music or what they think the audience would like. But I like my rock music, and I wanted to just take something, turn it on its head, and create an album which wasn't, and no disrespect to the classical music, beautiful classical music, which most people think, this very angelic kind of being in a beautiful white dress kind of thing. That's, if I asked a lot of people, that's what they would tell me, that classical singing, I can imagine a beautiful blonde haired girl singing in a white dress, and it would be very, very angelic. Well, I want to show the darker side of that, in a good way, because I think there's beauty in darkness. So I wanted to take these popular rock and pop songs and turn them on their heads and create a different meaning for them. Like I've done Radiohead's Creep, and I just wanted to give it a cinematic feel that you could listen in a Hollywood movie, and that it could completely just take you to the cinema or somewhere in a memory or a feeling that you have when you listen to that and listen to the words and the insane orchestra that I got to do this music. And the Robin Hoffman is the arranger and producer of this album, and he literally catapulted it to another place. And I had the ideas, but I never imagined them to be what it is today. And I know I sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet here, and I don't mean to, but it's just it's not my singing that I'm blowing my trumpet about. It's actually the arrangements and just how fabulous they are. But I just wanted to show that, you know, this rock music and pop music and classical music can go hand in hand and create a perfect classical crossover genre, which we are all doing. And just more people need to listen to it, because you could be like a hairy biker and still enjoy classical music, but you just, you know, just got to listen to the right stuff. So that's it, really.
Absolutely. And I think both of you ladies in different ways, and I mean, all of us in the genre, but I think in a way, like, classical crossover, it's been so associated, like you mentioned, like Charlotte Church, who I adore. She was like my inspiration, but it's like the voice of an angel. She's forever 12 in some people's minds, you know, and they're never allowed to mature and become women. And we have a lot of different sides to us. So I really like that it's not always one thing. And, you know, sacred music, I love sacred music, but again, it's like there's different elements, there's sexy elements, there's different things to the music that is really unique, you know, to women. And we should be embracing all those different parts.
Words like violence break the silence, come crashing into my little world, painful to me, pierce right through me. Can't you understand? Oh, my little girl, all I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
You both mentioned you've done this independently. So do you want to share maybe like one tip each of something you guys have learned from this process?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I thought, because I laughed at this question actually, because I thought, well, in this process, I'm used to a company doing it for me. So, you know, I had no idea just how hard and how painstakingly painful this whole process is. As much as it is fun and great, the behind the scenes for me were, I mean, I've probably had about 5 mental breakdowns. But it's one of the tips I would say is understand what you're putting your money to, or who you are getting your PR, you know, to promote your album and stuff. But the main thing for me was learning the difference between digital downloads and streaming, because I had no idea. So I was like, what if I got to license my music for? This costs quite a bit. And then you have to license it for a certain, if you're not selling it on a CD, that's a whole separate licensing thing as well. But if you're streaming it or digital downloads, you've still got to have another license for that. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I was like, I think I will get at least 1,500 streams, hopefully, and that would be my top one for each track. And so I was being very modest there with hoping that that's what I'd get in a year, and then realised that that's just digital downloads. So the streaming thing is separate. So, and digital downloads, they're fine, but more these days we get a lot of streaming, and that's the most. So, you know, I mean, good luck for each song if they get that many downloads. I don't know. I mean, please, guys, if you're watching, just download it from Amazon. But yeah, I think it's important to know what you're spending your money on and also what team you have behind you. Because I think if you don't know, and then you've got someone that's actually not working efficiently, then it's money down the drain that you've accumulated from hard work or sponsors or people like that. So, you know, be aware of what to do with your money and how you spend it. Just be very careful. So luckily mine's just a little hiccup, but it could have been a lot worse.
Now, there's definitely all these different schemes and there's kind of like pay to perform things that I think we get kind of tricked into doing sometimes, and you learn from all those lessons. But did you have a distributor in the end that you worked with, something like DistroKid or something?
Yes. I've got a friend actually who works closely with my arranger, and yeah, so he suggested him And we hit it off straight away, but still there was a lot of oh yeah, just do this, do that. And then because I felt a little bit like this is my first time doing this album independently, I felt a little bit stupid. So a lot of things I was just going around as if I was blind. I was just going around in the dark trying to figure out which is the best thing to do. Just ask, open your mouth and ask someone instead of going through all this stress and then thinking I could have just sent an email. But that's me. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. So yeah, it's very important to understand what you're doing and just talk.
Yeah, get those good team people around you that like I know I've tried to record and just it's not worked out because again, that same reason, you don't have those people, so you need to really pull them in. Good point, Lucy. How about you, Grace?
The team of people is really important. I would always say that's the most important bit, but then I've realized I couldn't have done my album without my fans. I hate calling them that because it's just that's weird. My friends, my fans, I guess, I don't know, my fans. Get really Irish and awkward when people say how many fans you have. It's like, oh god. But those lovely people that follow my journey, I guess during the pandemic again, we became really honest as an industry about how hard it is to be an independent artist. And I think there was far more conversations with fans about how much things cost, and we never talked about that dirty subject of cost before. We were like, oh, look at the lovely song, look at the lovely dress, look at the lovely video. Let's not talk about how much debt I'm in because of the pretty dress and video and song. But we got to start opening up and saying, and I think it's because the industry completely stopped, but also we all said, well, actually, it's always been really hard to be a singer. It's always been really hard to be an independent artist. And I think because of that, and because of the amount of time and love we got and gave to our fans, we got this lovely relationship with them. And I started a rocket fuel campaign because I literally I ran out of funding. I was like, if I'm going to finish this, I'll have to get people to give me help. But what was great about that campaign, it wasn't just like, give me money, thanks a million. It was experiences, it was special merchandise, Zoom calls, private concerts, your name on the album, your name at the end of a music video, like all those things were on offer. So people loved it because they got something back and things that I never would have thought about offering before. So I think the biggest thing I've learned in the last couple of years is I would have looked, especially like the Christmas EP and an album one after the other, I would have said, no way. And it was, again, my friend Mary Jess that one day sent me a really kind of tough voicemail. And she was like, Grace, do you want to make this? Because if you do, you've got to make it happen. And she said, there's all you have to do is decide to do something and then just make it happen. And I guess my mentality has changed that way. And I would never ask people for help for nothing. But I think if you offer people experiences and limited edition merch and that kind of thing, that's the biggest lesson I've learned. And I think you can only do it for so long. You can't just keep making albums and asking for help. But I think if you do things right and you give people great experiences in return, I think you can bring your fans and your family and friends on the journey with you. So that's something I've learned. You got to make it happen for yourself.
I like that. And I think it makes them really feel part of the process, right? When they're really supporting and seeing all the steps of it. So that's an awesome way. Okay, guys, we have some Patreon questions for you. And these come from Patrick Kimmel. I sent these to you ahead of time because of question 3, which I think you guys all saw. And hopefully you've had time to think about that one. Okay, so who would you like to sing with if you had the chance to pick? Can be male or female. And let's do Grace, Lucy.
Okay. I'm gonna actually pick both genders because I don't want to leave anybody out. If it was a male, I think Michael Bublé, because he's so dreamy. First of all, I mean, there's that, but he's just got that thing, the dreaded, the X Factor, not the TV show, but the actual X Factor. And I saw him live before, and I was so far away from him. I was in this big stadium, and yet he's so infectious that he just pulls you in from miles away. He's amazing. His voice, his color, everything. I love the tone of his voice. And then in terms of female artists, I'm cheating. It's 3 ladies, the girls I've been mentioning all along: Mary Jess, Lieberlin, Joanna Forrest, and Emer Barry. We've been literally like this every day, messaging over and back. And my dream is for us to actually perform on a stage together at some point, and that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
That would be brilliant. Actually, you guys did, so you and Emer and then Margaret did a collaboration for, I think, our last Christmas concert. So we'll see Yeah, if you guys ever do something, we definitely want to be there and cover that.
Definitely.
So how about you, Lucy?
Oh, mine would be, I just went for the one, because I sang with Andrea Bocelli, and he was my male singer that I literally had on my bucket list. In my head, it was just a dream. Didn't think it was going to happen. So I'm very happy with that one. The next dream I have is to sing with the one and only Lady Gaga. Now, because she does everything.
Yeah.
And she is phenomenal. And I just think, I mean, what a collaboration that could be. I mean, with any classical crossover singer, to get her involved in something, I think that would be insane. Yeah, I just think she's a super talented person, and her
Great
work
voice.
ethic. She works so hard, and she's an inspiration in all of the things, because when she said she's going to do something, she does it. And and still wows everyone. So yeah, it would be her.
I actually think that would be really great, Lucy, because like you have the vintage style, which I love, and she does that sometimes too. I think that would look really visually, as a fan, I'd be there for it. Okay, question number 2. Which theater would you guys like to sing in?
I'll go first. I think I said before, I would absolutely love to sing on the main stage in the National Concert Hall in Ireland. There's big stages all over the world, but that's one I'd love to get on there, because I'm dying to sing with an orchestra. Oh, I really want to do it. And I've got this dream, and I've pictured it. I pictured the dress, I've pictured the orchestra, I've pictured myself up there. So I'm hoping if I visualize it enough, it'll just happen. Because you had the Andrea Bocelli dream, and look what happened there. So if I just keep thinking about it
will
absolutely.
happen. It will happen. It will.
And when Michael Bublé might be there as well, which would be nice.
That would be a perfect mix, Grace.
I won't be selfish. He doesn't need to be there, but it would be nice if he showed up. Yeah, it would be nice.
And for you, Lucy?
Mine would be the Sydney Opera House. Because it's always been something that since going through classical music and opera, and it's always been just something as a kid thinking, the Sydney Opera House, like how I would just love to perform there. I mean, there's so many incredible venues all over the country, all over the world, but I would it would be the Sydney Opera House, because it's just insane. I mean, with a big orchestra again, and Andrea Bocelli. But there would be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, so question number 3 is a 2-parter. So the first part is, which musical would you like to play in, and why? So let's go Lucy, Grace.
Okay. I've got so many. There's so many. But I think since being a child, and I've always wanted to play one of 2 parts actually, but Grisabella in Cats. Because she, I don't think she dances that much. I'm not very good at dancing. She's old, and I can do that. But I would just love to sing that iconic song, Memory, that I've loved for so long. Failing that, I'd love to do Christine Dyer, but I think I'm a bit too old. So maybe Carlotta in Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, go for it. I hate these restrictions that we kind of have on these roles, right? Like even you think Sound of Music, I've kind of got to be this demure, light voice, but no.
Yeah, I had an audition for Christine Dyer. It was about 4 years ago now, and they turned me down and said, "You're too voluptuous. You've got too much of a figure." So I was like, and then they were like, "Come back in a few more years' time, you could play Carlotta." And I was like, "But I don't want to be Christine." But fair enough. I mean, that would be insane. But yeah, it is a shame, because you can't help your body shape really, but it is what it is. You're not right for the role. You're not right for the role, and if your voice is too mature, but it is what it is. Maybe I could get into an amateur version of it and still play it.
And then get their attention. Yeah, because it's only now we're starting to see, they had the first Black Christine finally after all these years, So it's we got to change the ideas about these things for sure.
Yeah.
So Grace, how about you? Dream role on stage in musical?
Oh God, I'm gonna just be really honest, and okay, I need to word this really carefully. I've never been a music theatre buff.
Really?
But when I go to one, I want to be in it. So if I'm at a musical, I'm like, oh my God. And I did them as a kid. I did a few like where I was in the chorus, the children's chorus. Absolutely loved it. But we'll say really music theatre is not my thing when it's really like this. But then when I'm at it, I'm nearly in my seat doing this. But I love some of the songs from musicals. I just don't think I've heard, like, you're talking about dark music and darkness. I'm literally like the human embodiment of darkness because I'm a contralto and I'm all very like, all very, very, very dark. And I think I always feel like I don't quite have the chirpiness required, but I do love Les Mis because my God, is that dark.
Yes.
I absolutely love that. And like there's so many musical theatre songs that I love. I just don't find myself drawn to music, being in musicals myself. But I think Les Mis, I Dreamed a Dream, obviously, on my own. They're great songs. If I ever got to sing them, I would love it. So it's a weird one. Love going to them. When I'm at them, I want to be in it, but never been drawn to auditioning for them.
Gotcha. No, you know what? I hear your voice because it's so dark. Again, I'm like stuck in the 1940s, so sorry guys. But it's like that period, and also like Patsy Cline. I know you've done like maybe one or two of her songs, Grace, but I just think you should do so much more. I love that voice, and it's your same voice type, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's something I really want to investigate. Like the world of contralto. Like it's kind of one of my goals next year is to kind of investigate, like go back and say like this is, you know, you're always trying to find your unique selling point, and obviously I'm a contralto, but to try and find things that are different that other people can't do, let's say with a higher voice. So I'd love to try and find some songs and kind of show off what I can do at classical crossover. And that is literally one of my goals. And I think 50s, 60s is where I'm going to have to journey back to as well.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of have voice envy for you both right now because I'm a mezzo in the middle. So Grace, you have the low notes I want, and Lucy, you got the high I want. So all right, let's go to part 2 of this question. So, and Patrick said this could be a tricky one, and no offense if you guys don't know, but he said, what is your favorite Canadian musical?
Okay, well, I read up on it because I didn't know, but I heard about Come From Far Away.
Canadian, yes, okay, yeah.
I have heard some music from that, but I wasn't sure that actually was Canadian, written by. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? So when I googled it today, I was like, ah. So I was going to try and say that I knew about it, but I'm not going to lie. There's no point. So, but that one.
So I actually saw that one on Broadway, Lucy. It was super good. I really liked that one.
Was it?
And then I was trying to think too. I really don't know, Patrick. You'll have to inform us. The only thing I can imagine is there's been a few Anne of Green Gables musicals, but otherwise I'm not really sure. So please let us know. Okay. So to wrap it up, what is next for you guys? And then we're going to do some fun questions. So Grace, Lucy now.
I guess I'm still in the world of this album, so it's next. It's current and it's next. I'm releasing that, and I'm going to do I presume my first public performance, unless something comes up in the meantime. There is something coming up for me that's really exciting, but I still think it probably won't be known when this comes on, so I'm not allowed to talk about it. But there is something that will become very apparent very soon. But I literally am just it's not my project, we'll say, so I can't talk about it. But in the next year or so, I would love to, as I said to you just previously, I would love to investigate songs by more contraltos from the 50s and 60s and kind of take on music of that time anyway, not even just female singers, but other songs, and also spiritual music and Christian music, because that's actually a huge part of my history as a singer. And I haven't really ever gotten to kind of show that. Like singing at funerals is like when I sing at a funeral, I feel most comfortable as a singer, because I feel like that's what you're actually meant to be doing, and my voice is completely different when I sing at funerals. Like it's like it just does its own thing. It does what it's meant to do. And I have a huge spiritual belief. I believe in energy. That's something I really want, and it's crazy to me that I haven't actually done that yet. So that's just something I'd love to investigate. I know I can do that, so just show it to the world a bit more.
That's awesome. I'm really impressed that you can do that, because Grace, for me, it's been like, even if I don't know the person, I just see the and it's so hard to sing. So I so much respect that you can do that and give that comfort to the people. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's not about me at all. I find sometimes I can find singing a little uncomfortable, and that it's taken me a long time to be comfortable with being kind of saying, this is me, look at me, and show off a little bit. And I guess at funerals, I feel like that's kind of, not to sound a bit cheesy, but I feel like it's my calling, it's what I'm meant to be doing. I've had several people over the years say that my singing was kind of the only thing that kind of helped them get past and get through that day. and it's
Because
it's amazing
that's
to
your
be able to do.
gift, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the gift.
Yeah, and that's
so
exactly what I think what we're giving these voices for. So you're using it for the greater good and to comfort people in time of need. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
And how about you, Lucy?
What have I got next? I was like, my album Dark Angel is out on the 12th, which is very exciting. It's been a long time coming. And then I will be going on tour, which I've just signed the contract for, around Europe. I'll be going Germany, Switzerland, and Norway, and some other places as well, for the Andrew Lloyd Webber Gala Tour. And I will be singing some Christine Dyer songs. To do it so in concert form. So I will be singing that extremely top high note, which when I signed for the contract, I've never sung up there in my life, but I was like, yeah, I can do it. So I kind of blagged to them that I knew that I could sing that note, not knowing that I could. So I have spent the past week literally trying to get up there, and it wasn't there, and then I had a breakthrough and now it's there, and so I've got to keep working on making it sound stronger and nicer to the ear, or else it will sound like a scream, but I finally broke that wall to get there. So so a little bit naughty signing a contract when you weren't sure whether you could sing it or not. And then so that goes on till March, from Boxing Day till March the 13th, and in between that I've got my own solo tour in Canada, in Vancouver, and that's for 4 nights only, and it's called Unforgettable, where I will be singing lots of musical theatre songs as well as classical and opera and a bit of pop.
Amazing. Are you coming to New York at all, Lucy?
I'm not sure yet. I might. There is talk about it for the Christmas time next year.
Okay.
So I will let you know. There is some talks about Canada, New York, and places, but nothing's set in stone yet. But I will let you know.
Okay, fingers crossed, because I feel like so much of the crossover world takes over in the UK, and so like I feel like I'm missing out on most of it. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, those things sound amazing. Like you mentioned, Dark Angel's out the 12th, and Grace, your album is out the 28th. So everyone, please support, buy when you can, and then stream and share, comment. All those things really help. Okay, guys, so this is going to be a rapid fire, just fun round. I have this book that's like a ton of questions, so I just pick random ones out. Okay, so the first one is, what color annoys you when you see it?
Mustard.
Mustard. Okay. Brown. I don't like it, like lime green, and it's weird. It's like really pretty in kiwis or something, but like if it's too bright, just an odd one. Okay, who can you be yourself around?
My husband, John, definitely.
My cats.
I love it. Okay, if you could do something all over again, what would it be? It's kind of a harder one, right?
In like you just experience it in a good way over again.
Yeah, just like, I mean, we could do the other way too, like something you wish you could totally change.
No, I would sing with Andrea Bocelli again and actually try and enjoy it, because I did, but I was too nervous, because how could you not be? So I didn't really get to experience it like probably he does every time he's on tour, because I was just like, oh gosh, get this wrong. Oh, it's like, I'm too. Yeah, I couldn't deal with it. So can't remember it really. So I like to say that it's a great memory, but can't remember it. So
I think I would go back to recording Unleashed, because I was just so same reason. I was so nervous and so overwhelmed by the whole thing that like when I look back, I was like, oh my God, all those musicians were there for me. And like that was all done kind of at the one time. So that was a different process to this album. But yeah, I always say like, oh, bring me back to that time when those amazing musicians were sitting right there. And I was, I was a bit intimidated by the whole thing. And I definitely would like to relive that the way I am as a person now. That makes sense. Kind of the same, I think, is what Lucy is saying.
Okay, do you guys have a favorite accent?
Yeah, I do. it is Irish, but I can't do it. But also, my other one would be Scottish, because
Yes.
I love it. I can't do it now because I've just okay, the new. I don't know. I lived in Scotland for a while, and my mum used to call me and she'd be like, "Where's my daughter gone?" Because I am a bit of a comedian. So if I've been around someone for long enough, I will start speaking like them. So it's really embarrassing having a Norwegian partner as well, because then I start to get that Norwegian twang. But Scottish, that's a Scottish, sexy Scottish man. That is the voice I love. Yeah.
You should have a really nice TikTok video, Lucy, of just doing the different accents.
And failing at them.
How about you, Grace?
It must be a singer thing. And I don't think I bounce from accent to accent, and I don't realize I'm doing different accents. I'm really currently concerned my daughter will have an accent unknown to men, because I'd be like, "Hello, how are you doing today?" And then just come, no, I don't know what that is. Like, "My babushka," and I'll be around doing that accent. And then I'd be like, "John, can you come here?" And then I'm American later on. And then after the pandemic, I kept obviously it was just me and John constantly. And he said, "Grace, I cannot leave the house now," because he said, "I'm going to go for a drink with the guys, and I'm going to be, hey guys, you want to have a drink now? Would you?" And he was really concerned that I was rubbing off on him, bouncing from accent to accent, and I can't do any of them properly. You'd be afraid that somebody would say, "Oh, you can do that accent. Why don't you perform in this thing?" And it turns out I can do 4 words in that accent, and then it'll become Jamaican eventually. They all do. They will all end up going into a Jamaican accent.
I think it is a singing thing, because I know so many people that even when they're on tour with people, they just these accents that you do, and like you said, I think it is only 4 words. That's the that's the limit, because I can't keep it going. So change to the next.
Okay, so what personality trait gets you guys in trouble?
I've got anger issues. No, I get like, oh no, I'm a nice person, really. Probably why I called my album Dark Angel. I'm trying to show the other side that people don't see. Now I do have a bit of I'm not very patient, and I should be, and it's a horrible trait. But also, like, I can go from 0 to 10 in about 5 seconds, and that's not great. So I'm doing well. I'm calming it down a lot more than I used to. But if something, I don't talk about things a lot sometimes, and it builds up, because sometimes I try to be too polite about things and I won't. And then I'll just explode, but it won't be to the people probably needs to be. It'll be probably I'll explode to my mum, and my mum has to deal with it. And then I'm like, "Sorry, mum, I didn't mean it," you know. But she's always there to be my sounding board. And unfortunately, my other sister's like that as well. And then it's my mum, bless her, she takes the brunt of just everything. And I sound like a really bad person now, but I'm just being honest. But then she's like, no, she said, "I'm always here for you." But yeah, it's like, if I lose it with something, everything's a problem, and it's, you know, so I have to calm myself down. I've got a lot of different techniques now for that. I used to be quite bad, and it's just about talking to people, and that's what I need to realize, is that I could be having a conversation with you guys, but I won't actually be talking about the things that I need to talk about. So I'm very brushing them off and not talking about them.
No, I totally get it, because my husband's like that, where he's like a saint. He'll take everything, you know, you never see a reaction, and then a car will pass him on the road and it's explosion. And it's so disproportionate to what's happening, but it's because, you know, he's so nice and really not speaking his needs, you know, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
Grace, how about you?
I'm trying to think the one that gets me, I don't know if it gets me in trouble, but it's again to do with performing. But I can be a perfectionist about a lot of things, and then sometimes when it comes to right at the end of a goal, I just can't function. I just can't function, and I sit there, and especially the day of a concert, like, instead of, I want to be, it's like I'm frozen to the spot, and I'm like, I need to go over there, and I just need to put my CDs on that table, and I need to go over there and get there. It's all organized in advance, but I'm kind of stuck, and I get into this space where I don't need people fussing around me. The only person I can be around is my husband, because he knows this about me. He's like, "Just leave, she's fine." Whereas if people are like, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" I'm like, and I have a relatively long temper, but I do hold things in as well. But at that time, it could just burst. So I guess it's just my inability to deal with the day of a pressurized situation and the 2 days before it. But I don't know if that's a personality trait. I guess perfectionist up to the point when I need to be a perfectionist, and then I don't function.
Yeah, no, it's fun to hear. Like for me, I'm quite sarcastic with my friends. And I feel like if you haven't seen me in a while, you can kind of forget that. So this one friend, we'd like lost touch, and I'm going back to the normal thing. And he was like, what is wrong with this girl? And I was like, that's just me. I'm like, I think I'm nice, but it's just how we banter. So. Well, thank you, ladies. This has been so much fun. Love chatting with you again.
Oh, it's been so nice. Thank you.
And
lovely meeting you, Lucy.
And you too. I know, it's lovely. It's nice to, and this is what, thank you, Natasha, because it's nice to, we see each other on like Instagram and things when you're posting about obviously all the classical crossover artists that you promote. And so it's nice, to actually be able to put a face to obviously the pictures and everything we see and the voice and everything. But it's so nice to have that personality come through and actually know that we get along on here and have a good chat. So it's really nice. So thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
And I think as women too, we share so many of the same struggles in this industry. So whenever I can get a couple ladies on one of these chats, I'm very excited.